Hello, it's James from xrobots.co.uk. I have a day job, as you may know, at Bladez Toyz, doing prototyping and 3D printing and electronics and things like that for the toy products. So I'm here with Ian Morgan, the MD of Bladez Toyz, who you may remember from being Darth Vader at Star Wars Celebration and those videos. And basically we've just got this product into production on the Hotwheels license, which is the Bladez Drone Racer. So this is a Hot Wheels car that you've got a drone on top to skid steer around. It goes down Hot Wheels track. You can take the drone off and fly it like a normal drone as well. So basically this has gone into production, and now Ian has a new challenge for me, which is going to be a YouTube video apparently, but I don't know what it is yet, so what exactly are we going to do?
James, I'm going to lay down a challenge for you, sir.
Alright.
This is super small. How big do you think we can make this and
why
work?
do you want a big one?
We're doing promotional and Hamleys Parade in November, and we're going to go down the Hamleys Parade, and I want us to have the biggest and the best piece in that parade.
Alright, so how big?
I'm thinking we can probably go maybe... I think we can go bigger. Bigger. That's 3 foot.
So you want it bigger than that?
Yeah, bigger. Let's go bigger.
Okay.
That's 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, hang on a minute. Are you going to ride in this?
9 foot.
Well, hang on a minute, because how are we going to put it in the 3D printer?
How big do you think we can go? Let's go for...
So in the end, we've agreed
on 6 foot wide and 6 foot long
with 30-inch rotors.
Do you accept?
Challenge accepted. Right, we should probably stop playing with toys and get on with the build. Woo! So since we made the actual product, of course I have access to the production CAD, which looks like this. All I need to do is scale it up 25 times and work out how to make all the pieces, make it steer, make the drive, and of course make the drone with rotors on. I cut out the main chassis from hardwood plywood. This is about 12mm plywood, so it should be nice and tough. Most of this was cut with a handsaw and also with a jigsaw. I painted it black to match the toy, and this is an exterior sealant because it's going to drive outside in November when the weather might be wet, so I don't want all the wood to warp. The rest of the structure for the chassis is made out of 2020 structural aluminium, which I cut all 4 sides with a hacksaw to make nice clean cuts, and then cut all the way through. I used some brackets to make the corners nice and square. I just used normal wood screws, and basically I drilled holes in the 2020 so that it's screwed on nice and tight. I 3D printed some brackets as well. This is one to hold the back axle, and this was made with the Lolsbot Moore extruder, so the prints are really tough because the extrusions are so thick. Lots of the parts are bolted through the wood and through 3D prints to get the angles right. I used go-kart axle stubs for the steering, and these need a 10-degree angle, so most of this was drawn in CAD, and then I 3D printed the parts and bolted it all together with the 3D prints onto the 2020 aluminium. It's easy to make whatever plates you want with 3D printing, so all of this was custom made. And that makes up my steering. I had to customise the wheels, and the wheels turned out to be 16 inches once we'd scaled it up, and they're also yellow, so the only wheels I could actually find were wheelbarrow wheels. But they didn't have any bearings in, so I had to make some inserts and fit some low profile bearings in to fit those axle stubs, and also fit the back axle. So that's my steering assembly. It seems to work pretty well, but I need to make that electric so it can be radio controlled. Again, the back wheels were fitted with bearings, and that seems to roll pretty well. I used more 3D prints to make up the front steering assembly, and again this needed cross bracing with 2020 aluminium, and some of those parts were pivots, and those go right through the wood and through the 3D prints. I made a crank there, and that's the piece that's going to use a linear actuator to move the steering, so it makes the linear motion go round a corner. So that seems to work pretty well, and then I used a linear actuator to actually actuate that steering, and that's controlled with the radio control system and an Arduino and a motor driver. The back wheel drive, there are pulleys on the back wheels which I screwed on, and I made hubs out of Morstruder prints and the pulleys out of normal prints, so I had lots of detail, and these are T10 pulleys. I thought it was best to stick some of the cosmetics on so we can see if the wheels have their range of motion. Again, these are Morstruder prints in PLA. Of course we need to put them in front and behind the wheels to check the wheels can do their full range of motion. After building up the back axle chassis piece to hold all the motors and installing an Arduino which reads the RC signal from the receiver, it was time to test the wheels. These are brushless motors and they run pretty quick. The theoretical top speed is over 30 miles an hour. We thought it would be a good idea to do a test run, so we took it out to the car park and drove it around a bit. It's going backwards here, and then we tested the full speed going forwards. It seems to run pretty well, and some people got very excited. Next it was time to make the actual quad, so I cut out the pattern from plywood again with a jigsaw and a handsaw. This is the main pattern for it, but it needs to be chunkier than that, so I cut out the same shapes out of polystyrene insulation foam and glued them down with PVA. I left it overnight to cure, and also cut out these shapes for the other side. The rest of this had to be hand shaped. I did use a straight edge at some points to try and get these edges nice and straight, but most of it was actually done by eye, just by sanding through the polystyrene insulation with a sanding block. I built a box out of plywood and more Morstruder 3D prints to get those nice corners, and this makes the main body of the quad where it sits into the car. In the toy this contains the battery and some of the electronics. I've made pilot holes in the 3D prints, so I drilled those from the inside and then drove screws back in from the outside. And again that was painted black with exterior sealant to make sure that it's waterproof and it's the right colour to match the toy. I screwed that onto the chassis I'd made for the quad with battens which were also glued on as well, and again put screws in from the inside and the outside. That seems to work pretty well, it sits right in there. Obviously there's more detail and it's actually on a ramp which is motorised so it can lift up. The rotors are 30 inch and I managed to buy some of those off the shelf. I scaled up the motor housing from the toy 25 times and 3D printed it with a Morstruder. This is actually going to have real motors in, but in the large version most of them will be empty. We got Paul the intern to make the body shell by unfolding the CAD onto flat sheets and making lots of 3D printed brackets for the inside. This is cut out of foam PVC board, and then we used a lot of filler to fill it in and make it right. So that is the end of part 1 of building a Bladez Hot Wheels drone racer. So next time I'm actually going to get the rotors in so they actually spin with motors, and hopefully all the cosmetics finished so we can take it to a very special event that's coming up at the end of the series. So don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this project and all the other projects. Alright, that's all for now.